Welcome to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast, the CAN podcast. Lazy, easy listening about little life's adventures
And lesson.
and lessons. I'm Doz.
I'm Debbie.
Louis is a dog for our audio listener. So in this season, we have two dogs joining us regularly on the podcast. We have Louis the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and we have Archie the Cavoodle. If you ever hear snoring on the podcast, it's probably one of them. I think our mics are okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think our mics are okay at filtering them out, but, sometimes you just can't help it. Let's kick things off with our palate cleanser, a nice way to reset before we dive into our main course.
All right. So we are switching it up today. Back to all things law/legal. So 101 things I learned in law school. What number?
Let's go with number 12.
I was trying to guess what number you would
What
do.
number did you think I was gonna?
I just flipped it to 33.
I mean, it could have been a number.
I think we've done this one already.
11 then. Does 11 look familiar?
Yeah.
Oh, 10? I should really start marking these so that we can look at it at a glance.
I don't think this is done, but you might ring a bell when I read it out to you. The title is, in arguing before a California court, one may cite an unpublished case from Texas, but not an unpublished case from California. Some but not all court decisions are published by the court in court reporters. The United States Supreme Court publishes all of its decisions, but some federal courts of appeal publish fewer than 10% of their decisions. Unpublished court decisions generally could not be used as a basis for argument in the same jurisdiction, as they are not binding precedent, but one may sometimes cite an unpublished decision from another jurisdiction to persuade the court to decide in one's favor.
I don't think we've done that one, but I think we've done something similar where it talks about different regions having different laws, whereas this one's saying that, if decisions are published in a certain place, it doesn't mean it's applicable somewhere else.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Or it can be.
So it's saying in California, you can't use an unpublished case in the same state, say in an unpublished case in California, in another California case, but you can use an unpublished case in a different state, like Texas, and use it in a California case, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, they're technically both unpublished, so to be consistent, application either admissible or both inadmissible. That's the right word.
I don't know, but I'm just going to assume the law is complex. There's not a straightforward or black and white.
Yeah.
Things to
Everyone
apply.
can argue either way.
That's why lawyers get paid so much.
Yeah, and then there's also probably why a lot of people that maybe technically guilty don't get convicted, and then you have people that aren't guilty who get convicted, and then luckily a lot of the times, well, I don't know whether it's a lot of the times, but sometimes they end up being released and get compensated because they found out they weren't actually the perpetrator or whatever. Which is really sad because it means they've lost sometimes 20 years of their lives stuck in prison for something they did not commit. And maybe it was just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, God. Yeah, timing's everything sometimes. Let's get into our main course then. I want to start today by telling everyone about a core memory of mine that I just remembered recently, which is, I think, one of the first signs that I was going to grow up to be a foodie who was curious about wanting to try different cuisines, flavors, textures, all the above was when I was a young kid and I would steal all my mum's hospital food.
Hospital food?
Right? So,
How often was your mum at the hospital?
so I was too young to really comprehend. My mum had a lot of health complications with the birth of my younger siblings. So I assume she was in hospitals for prolonged periods of time related to their birth before and after. I'm not 100% sure. But I remember like during my childhood being in hospitals a few times. Not a long time and like frequent enough, but ad hoc enough that I remember stealing her hospital food multiple times. And I remember it because the first time I had it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I like retained it to the fact that the soup comes in this little plastic bowl with like this lid on top. And I'd never like gotten served soup with lid on top before. So I was like, oh, that's special. And the sandwich is coming in a little plastic thing because it's obviously like a takeaway sandwich. But I hadn't seen that before. And then I immediately associated it to like hospital food. Also, they had jelly, which I really like the jelly. And I think like for dessert, they would either give you a jelly or fruit. And then my mum would always request the jelly because she knew I would want the jelly. Is it bad that I stole my mum's food? Probably. But I'm pretty sure my dad and my family brought other food for her to actually eat. And she would just leave the hospital food aside for me. But yeah, and then I remember like that was multiple occasions because I would come again like looking for the food. And this memory just resurfaced the other day because there's a very nostalgic smell and taste I have with hospital sandwiches. Ironically, I don't think they're actually that good. Like, I think hospital sandwiches are quite basic. They don't do anything special to it. So it's kind of just like the flavor of whatever. And I think the flavor that I ate, so I think like their way of giving patients healthy food is the sandwiches were always filled with like a lot of vegetables. So I think the taste that, the combination that is nostalgic to me is wholemeal bread or multigrain bread with butter and then a lot of shredded carrots and then everything else. But there's something about a lot of grated raw carrots on whole grain / wholemeal bread with butter that has a very distinguished taste and texture. And when it's served a little bit cold, like it's just come out of the refrigerator. You're trying to escape?
Trolleys, folder. I think it kind of gave like American sort of high school, middle school vibes, which I mean, we didn't get served that way in Australia. We kind of just packed our own lunches, or we went to buy food in and get them in these like, well, those are kind of lunch orders where they come in brown bags. But the idea of like being served in a tray, I thought was cool because it was like what you saw in the media. Because obviously, American media and life sort of it's kind of the main sort of thing I saw on television. But I don't remember the food looking that appetizing. It looked a bit depressing. But I get the nostalgia of it. maybe when you were a kid, and maybe there were certain aspects of it. Because I also really enjoy like canned food. And it's really strange because my parents were butchers, so we had access to fresh, good quality meat. But then I grew up to loving like spam, and you introduced me to corned beef, which I really love. Like mixing that with
canned corned beef.
Yeah,
Because you can
canned.
get corned beef that's not canned.
No, it has to be the canned one, and like that being mixed into like rice and fried up. It's like such a delicious meal in itself. I would probably rate that as good as having a good steak, which a lot of people feel like gasping because steak too. But yes, like hospital food, yeah, it's almost the equivalent of canned food for me. But you would, I guess, when have you recently had hospital food?
So that's what triggered the memory. I didn't have hospital food, but I got I don't remember the actual circumstances. I think I was just really busy and I realized I hadn't eaten. And I was like, I should get something substantial. So I just quickly brought like a sandwich from the supermarket. And I was like, I'll get something filled with a lot of veggies. And it obviously had raw carrots in it. And when I bit, first of all, the smell, when I opened the plastic, I was like, ooh, familiar. Took a bite, familiar. And then it resurfaced that memory. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember like trying hospital food, really liking it, and kind of had this weird fixation with it early on. And now those like simple flavors and those novelties still kind of, I still like them. Like, but it's all from nostalgia and less that. I think it's a combination of like spending time with my mum in the hospital. Like I obviously didn't see her for a period of time if she was staying in hospital. So it was probably exciting to go visit hospital and see my mum. And then for me, when you're a kid, like I think adults do a really good job at trying to make sure the hospital experiences from a kid's point of view is good. Because like the nurses would sneak me an extra jelly so I could have it. I would wander around the gift shops and that was a lot of fun. And then like my older cousins would buy me like a balloon from there and stuff like that. Like it wasn't as depressing when you don't know what's going on. But I digress. The reason it triggered a core memory and why I am associating it to one of probably the first indicators that I was going to be a foodie was I think the reason I wanted to try it in the first place and then enjoyed it is because it's so different to what I ate day to day. I was very privileged growing up where my parents cooked for me and they would cook like typically Asian food. So my day to day was like a bowl of white rice, protein, braised meat, steamed vegetables, soupy kind of like foods, like like
Quintessential.
Yeah, like
Vietnamese, Asian food.
Yeah, so that's what I was used to, and I liked. By the way, I'm not complaining, but then
that's probably
that's all I knew.
They made because I think that's what your parents probably liked. It's not like you could cook food and go out and buy stuff to make yourself.
Correct.
And
then,
Did they introduce they also slowly try to do more Western style dishes? Like
your parents?
Your parents or your mum? Did your dad cook as well?
My dad was the one who introduced me to canned corned beef with rice.
Oh, okay.
When my mum wasn't home and he had to cook, he's like, opens canned food and just mixes a bunch of stuff.
I think my dad had to cook a few times when my mum wasn't around. And he always over seasoned the food. And I never ate. I didn't enjoy it. But now I actually, because I over season all my, I always put extra salt. Always ask for extra salt when I go out, for fish and chips or charcoal chicken. And but anyway, sorry, I'm also digressing. But you're saying parents made, your mum would make, dishes at home, but something.
Oh, yeah. So when I went to the hospital for the first time, like my mum didn't keep the tray of food for me. She just didn't eat it because she probably didn't have an appetite. And then I was curious about it. So I was just like staring at this thing. Mum goes, "Do you
Tray.
want it?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, I want it." And she gave me the jelly first because she's like, she's definitely going to want the jelly. And I was like, "I want to try the other stuff as well." She's like, "Oh, yeah, if you want, you can." And then that's what started everything. But I think the only reason why I wanted to try it was because it was so different. Because it wasn't like I came in hungry or came in and it was like you said, it doesn't look appetizing. It doesn't smell. There's no smell that would be enticing. It was literally just, I'm like, what is this? It's food. It's presented differently and it's something I haven't seen before and I want to try it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's where you're saying your sort of foodie-esque
I think that's where it's,
persona developed. Although to be
yeah.
honest, is everyone a foodie? Because I don't know people that don't like eating food or have a dish that they like to eat. I feel like that makes someone a foodie. If they enjoy eating food, then that's a foodie. I
No.
don't know anyone that doesn't like eating or eats for the pure sake of energy and staying, well, living.
Yes.
Like,
So that.
everyone eats stuff that they enjoy. I mean, there's some people that will, sorry, just like forcing him to stay here. I feel like there's definitely people
for
that,
audio listeners, the dog tried to get up to jump off.
well, you would have seen it if you're watching the video. I feel like he's going to jump on a cord or something. That's why I'm recording him. But yeah, people will only eat for energy for a period because it's like around fitness and trying to achieve a certain body. But if that wasn't an issue and you could eat anything you wanted and it didn't affect your body, so take that out of the equation, then you would eat everything that, you crave and that you desire and that's delicious for you. And that makes you a foodie, doesn't it?
So the definition of foodie in my head is when someone will put effort into doing what they need to pursue trying different foods or eating the food they like. So whether it be working to make money to go to a wide range of restaurants that have different price points, it would be learning how to cook. It'd be going out of your way to find special ingredients to be able to experience something. So I would say that's a foodie. Whereas I say a person who's less a foodie or not a foodie is someone who wouldn't prioritize any of that. They would eat out of convenience. So what's easy to access and what will just fuel them or meet whatever their goal is. And that's literally the priority before anything else.
I've never met that kind of person.
I have multiple.
But I feel like that is the underlying reason is because of a fitness aspect or a budgetary aspect.
But that's what I mean.
If they weren't issues, then they would. I'm not saying that every human is a foodie deep down, and like you said, some will prioritize it and eat like what they love and try new experiences, and then there's some where there might be a simple choice in the supermarket where it's like, I could just eat chicken breast every day. Actually, I'm going to, change it up and have, duck or pork or beef.
Anyway, no, I think what you're saying is food is an indulgence, and if everyone could easily have access to good food that they like, they would always consume the food they preferred.
Yeah,
right?
Deep down, everyone is a foodie.
Yeah, so I don't define that as foodie. I think you're right when you say everybody has their preference for what they like and what they would prefer to eat. But I think as a foodie is someone who prioritizes food in their life and will work around that most of the time. Like you can have goals and stuff for fitness and stuff and still be a foodie, but then like that's normally a window, right? Like you still try to pursue it through other means. So whether it be, for example, like I'm on my grind for 3 months, but I have these dates proactively booked to go try this and eat that. And it wasn't for the social aspect. It was probably for the food first. And then you're like, who should I recruit? And then you like invite someone. I would say that's a foodie. The reason I like traits that I think makes me a foodie versus not is things like I want to be convenient and efficient. So there was once upon a time in my life when I started working full time that I tried to meal prep. And the easiest and most efficient way to meal prep, from a cost point of view, from a time invested to prepare it, was to have the same consecutive meals multiple times, right? And there was also certain foods that would be easier to make in batches. So it's the stereotypical chicken and rice, chicken and broccoli, beans with another protein, basic seasonings, salt and pepper. And I realized after 1 week, could not do it. I get sick of food so quickly. I do hyperfixate on certain things, but when I was eating the same meal that was pretty average every day, like it literally made me sad. I think people who aren't foodie, it wouldn't literally make them sad. It'll just make them, they're like, it's fine. It fed me.
So I would actually be happy eating the same thing for a week or maybe like a month or two. But it has to be like a particular dish that I enjoy. So are you saying you enjoy it because of the repetition or because of the dish itself, or both?
Both. I think if being a foodie was a scale, I'd say I'm higher on the scale than you are.
Because I could, for example, like I love Nando's. I could eat Nando's every single day and be content for a few weeks, and then I'd definitely get over it, and then I could move on to say, like grilled. That's why I go through phases where I eat like the same thing. Like every time I go out, be like a period, like 2 months where I just go to the same takeout. So, for a period, it was like hot pot. It's when like hot pot became all the rage, and I was like obsessed with eating hot pot, and that was dish to go to every time we went out to eat. Nando's, I had gone through that, and I still come back to that every now and then. And what's like something else I always used to, and HSPs. Like you introduced me to HSPs, and then I went through a phase where I just kept eating it as my choice of takeout, and I would eat that or takeout every time. We were like, too lazy to cook, let's just eat that.
HSP.
Halal snack pack.
Halal snack pack. I think it's an Aussie thing.
Yeah, it is. I think every time I watch like, I guess foodie vlogs and stuff, and they'd come into Australia, and then they ask like locals or their friends that live in Australia, what are like quintessential Australian dishes to eat? People always talk about the HSP pack, and it kind of has like mixed receptions with like international visitors, because they think it's like really rich and heavy, which it is.
Oh yeah, it's like good hangover food. It's that category. It's the same category as when you like order late night McDonald's or pizza or something like that. It's that category.
It's probably worse because it's like lathered in like sauces. Generally, garlic, hot chili.
You want to describe what
barbecue.
a HSP actually is?
Essentially, it is. It's like a meat chip sauce pack, and what will happen? The chips first, dump it on like a bottom and form a layer, then shave kebab meat off. So in most cases, it's either sort of chicken, lamb, or you can get mixed. Put that on top of the chips, and then to sort of finalize it, they'll squirt normally up to 3 different sauces, which we refer to as the Holy Trinity. go for your barbecue, hot chili, and garlic sauce. And so you think about it, it's just like oil and oil and oil. That's why I think it's actually probably like the chips deep fried. The meat's bad. Like the meat's pretty oily, isn't it? Yeah, the meat's oily, and then
It's
the
just very
sauces
high fat. Normally, kebab meat is like high fat
content. Yeah, because it's not like. Well, actually, you can. There's places that do like more like fresh,
lean,
like actual lamb pieces, but I think a lot of the whole nostalgia thought when you kind of think about HSP, you think about the
classic.
it's not fake meat, but it's like it's like
it's high fat, so it's like it's more fat than it is meat.
Yeah, but it's more the appearance. It's not like chunks of lamb or chicken. It's literally like them like strips, but it's thin strips. It's like almost like a paper scroll. Like you can sometimes like some really good kebab places where they can like when they're like shaving the meat, they can do like the whole box with one single like scroll, I guess, of meat. And so if you picked it up, you could probably like, you know, create a whip or something. Well, actually it'll break, but you could literally like, it'll be one single piece. And that obviously means there's some process crap in there that's helping it maintain its integrity and be so malleable you can literally shape it.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about HSPs again?
You mentioned it being one of the cuisines you like that you would fixate on sometimes and crave, like one of your regular cravings.
Now I could be happy to eat every time I go out. I would be okay eating that. Actually, HSP is a little bit rich, so like I reckon I get like 2 weeks eating it every day. Anyway, like I think that's maybe the way you said that you're much more of a, you know, you're in the upper threshold of foodies because you're
threshold scale
because you couldn't accept that kind of life.
I'm not trying to be a snob about it.
Well, it sounds snobby. You definitely won't be happy in prison if they're serving you the same food.
I'd be sad.
I'd be okay. I'd be fine.
Okay, good to know. I was going to say, the thing is like with your comments, it's always food you like as well. So I think it's different. I mean, yeah, it's interesting because you don't get sick of it probably as easily, but you do tend to still only pick food that you enjoy and you just take longer to feel completely fulfilled from it before you crave it again, which is, I don't know, just commenting. Going back to HSP, Halal Snack Pack, I just want to clarify. So it's a Aussie known thing. Australia is very multicultural. So, sorry, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yes. It's very multicultural. There's a lot of culture. So it's technically a fusion of Middle Eastern European cuisine. So you would have heard our description. It has like kebabs. You can kind of guess like where that comes from. And kebab shops is a very common thing in Australia. I think it's also very popular in the UK and wherever else in the world. And as a hangover food or a quick fix when you want something really like salty and like heavy and like you know, I think that's a common craving to just want something so like high protein, fatty, salty. Like I think that's a common craving. So when you want that, you get a kebab. And then one day, I don't know, all the Aussie kebab shops started introducing Halal Snack Pack. I remember it just happened overnight. I don't know the original shop that started it, but I remember like in the Aussie community, it just became a thing. And then every kebab shop just started offering it.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I wonder what the origin story of a HSP is. Someone actually at work told me about this place that does a dim sim, like a HSP with dim sims in place of the chips. So there'll be like a layer of dim sims. Is dim sims also a very Australian thing? Like, it's essentially like, how do you describe it? It's like what shape is a dim sim as well?
I would describe it as a cylinder.
Yeah, it's a
The
cylinder.
closest shape is a cylinder, but it's not a clean cut cylinder because the bottom is rounded and the top is more flat.
Yeah, and then there's some where it's more of a ball shape, like the South Melbourne ones.
Yes.
Yeah, but essentially it's just literally, it's almost like a meatball, and then it's covered in like a pastry, like a thin pastry, and then it's either deep fried or steamed. But anyway, someone said that there's places that now sell dim sum HSPs, which is like even more protein heavy because now you've switched out chips for dim sums, which is essentially meatballs, and then you lay that with your kebab meat and then your sauce.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's like that's like
a
a heart attack. But it sounds delicious, though. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dim Sims. Dim Sims is a Chinese-inspired meat and vegetable dumpling-style snack food popular in Australia.
Oh, okay, it is an Australian thing.
Yes, I love that Aussie cuisine is just a heavily inspired food that comes from a different
we
culture.
make our own version of another culture's signature dish. So obviously that kind of took influence from dim sum.
Yes.
And then HSP took it from obviously the kebabs and stuff. But almost like HSP is like almost, think about like another like really classic combo is like loaded fries or like chips and gravy. You know, potato gravy and meat and stuff. It's almost like an iterate. It's like that sounds kind of very UK-ish.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, you know, the Middle Eastern take of that, but then made more Aussie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anything about it. I think it only became an Aussie thing because it got popular in Australia.
Yeah, that's right. Same as potato cakes or potato scallops. We refer to there's a bit of like argument about what the official name is, scallop or cake. Potato cakes is another thing that's really. Is that like? I feel like that might be something that's popular in the UK as well. Surely,
I feel like
because fish and chips is very British. So
potato cake, flat circle.
Absolutely love potato cakes. Okay.
So, potato cake is what's Google gonna say? Sorry, Wiki's gonna say, including a patty of fried patty of mashed potatoes. Okay, yeah, potato scallops / potato cakes. In Australia and England, potato scallops are thin slices of potato that have been battered and deep fried. The terminology used in Australia differs from state to state. In Victoria, Tasmania, and the Murray River regions of New South Wales, they are referred to as potato cakes. In the eastern and northern regions of New South Wales, Queensland, and Australian Capital Territory, they are potato scallops or simply scallops, not to be confused with the seafood scallop. It says in brackets, which I think is funny.
Potato scallop, I've seen it. It's that like really like, it's like pieces of potato that have been laid and there's just like cheese and butter in between. And then you can like, it's made in almost like in a
dish,
and then people like scoop it out with a spoon and you like chuck it on. It's like almost like a side dish with your meat we have. Yeah. That's what I associate potato scallop as. Whereas potato cake is what you describe. It's like a thin potato that's been deep fried. It has a crispy exterior and a nice fluffy, fluffy, soft inside.
Yeah, so like the slices potato in a pan where they combine it with like cheese and cream and stuff like that. I think like it's like a casserole. A quick Google search suggests that it is an American classic but French inspired. Maybe
makes sense because all the butter that's in there.
Yeah. Because so the Frenchness sounds like it comes from the brown crust on top. So gratine is I hope I pronounced that right, is a culinary technique in which a dish is topped with a brown crust, often using breadcrumbs, grated cheese, egg, or cheese. So most common potato scallop, that's a casserole form, normally has like that crust on top, which I think is like a pretty signature part of it.
The crust is always very delicious.
Like the best part.
Yeah.
Potato cake, the version that we were talking about originally, where it's like a slice piece of potato that's like deep fried. It's a common fish and chips thing. It looks like it's a Australia and England thing. I don't know where the origin is. It doesn't really say at a glance.
Anyway, potato cake is, I reckon, like for me, I rate that as probably like
I love potato
my
cakes.
top form of potato to eat, closely followed by like, chips. And now going too specific of chips is a bit too hard because you obviously got like your, beer battered, your French fries, and your straight cut. You know what I actually thought I would like conceptually I would love, but didn't actually like was curly fries. It's a very American thing, but I remember I had it and I was pretty disappointed. Found it to be like a little bit not crispy enough and just kind of messy to eat. It kind of fell apart everywhere, so it wasn't great. But anyway, yeah, potato cakes and then chips. And then I would say like probably like mash and then like roast potatoes. Is there any other form of potato we can eat it in?
I'm sure there is, but I can't think of it on the spot. Jack potatoes. Hot potatoes.
No, just by itself. Yeah, like jack potatoes, doesn't that have like
baked potatoes? Baked potatoes is just like
that's an oven potato.
Yeah, but with I don't know, in foil and you eat it with butter.
Nah. I guess everything else has some butter, but yeah. I'm happy to have those like underneath with ovened, baked roast potatoes. So yeah, potato cake's like my top form of potato.
Yeah. The potato cake comment reminded me of what I thought potato cake was in my child mind. When I was little, you could order potato cakes from the school canteen. This is in primary school, so very young. And the first time I saw it on the menu, I was like, "Oh, potato cake." In my head, the potato cake was like an actual cake, like a baked cake that's like circle and thick, like baked. And for some reason in my
You
head,
thought it was like a sweet dish.
no, I thought it was savory, but in my head, the concept of a potato cake was a whole cake where a bunch of potatoes are thinly sliced and layered, almost like a crepe cake. And you form the cake and then they bake it. And then when you order a potato cake, they cut you a slice of the potato cake. So when I ordered it for the first time, in my head, I just thought that's what it was. Because I ordered one. Because I was like, back in the day, it was like 80 cents for a potato cake. And then I was like, 80 cents for a slice of cake. Oh my God, bargain. And then I get it. And it was just this thin circle disc.
Well, you could have made your own slice. Just cut that piece up and then layer it up.
I was just talking about how like it's funny what I perceived versus what it actually was. I ate it anyways, and I was a kid, so it was still filling.
Because when you think
like,
of
oh my God, best thing in the world.
Like it's like your traditional sweet cakes, like a birthday. Cut it up, right? There's like layers. I don't know where the sort of name potato cake originated from. But I guess it's better than calling it, fried sliced potato. It doesn't sound great or roll the tongue. Easy.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know where a lot of name origins come from. You know what my favorite joke is? It's the one that I retain and I like to pull out at parties. The joke is, do you know what the original name for the umbrella was?
I don't know, like Rain Shield.
No, it was Brella, but the dude that named it stumbled. Brella.
Oh, okay. Such a dad joke.
I love it. It's my favorite joke.
Mm. Actually, I think maybe when it's your birthday next time, you actually make a legitimate potato cake that you had envisioned. Stack them up. Handle.
Well, funnily enough, I think what I had in my head as a child is actually baked scallop potatoes in a casserole. Like it's basically that
thing.
but in a circle, and then you cut it. Like I think I'm like, oh, there is a version of it. It's just called something else. It's served a little bit differently, but that's like basically what I mostly imagined.
Mhm.
Anyways, and I like sweet cake, so I wouldn't offer
really?
that for my birthday.
I would like way rather a savory cake. I think I made like a chicken. It might have been for like Louis or Archie's birthday.
Dogs.
Well, they should be eating dairy cake. Like a chicken nugget cake. I just like put nuggets and then stacked up and put a candle in it. They loved it. I actually loved it too because I ate most of it.
Cute.
And I've seen like people do like sushi cakes.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's like sashimi, like piled up and candled.
Well, people who don't like sweet cakes, basically, there's alternatives.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could just have to have any cake at all, but yeah, I appreciate there is now options. But that's just kind of yeah, like you said, it's I would actually prefer that. And then it's but what the heck? You don't really cut it though, I guess. So
no,
you just literally just take it off and start eating it.
Yeah, I mean, cupcake towers are a thing as well, which is the similar concept.
So I like much prefer cupcakes over like a normal cake that's been cut up. I feel like the cupcake has much more a nice, like a more nice flavor to it, and it always feels like it's moist. The cupcake versus a normal cake. I feel like a normal cake, there's always a risk that's dry. Or yeah, it's anyway. I don't know why I prefer cupcakes over, but that's the same for you, yeah.
Yes, but I think I just like the size and experience. I've had, because it completely depends where you get it from or who the baker is. I've definitely had cakes that were better than a batch of a cupcake I've had, and I've had better cupcakes than a different cake that I've had. Like it just depends.
Oh yeah. Do you remember those? I remember I always wanted a ice cream birthday cake growing up because that was like the cake that a lot of kids at school got, and it was like that Freddo brand one. And for some reason, my parents never got it. And I actually had it like finally. Like I remember there was like I remember it might have been like 5, showing my age, where I got it and I tasted it and I'm like, this is not that great. But you know, at least it kind of ticked it off. But I remember being obsessed with the idea of an ice cream cake because I'm like, that's so cool. Because growing up in an Asian household, like we always got the same cake, which was like your, very, what do you call it? It's almost like a chiffon style cake. Sponge cake that's got cream, and sometimes it put bits of fruit in it. Sometimes it's durian flavor, which is I don't like, but it seems to be popular among the durian eaters. And then it's got like the lavish sort of like piping, like ribbon-ish piping, and then like red text with happy birthday in like this cursive writing. And that was the only cake that everyone would get when it was the birthday. And then I noticed like, because those were, I didn't realize, but they're actually quite expensive cakes to buy. So when Bread Top like finally opened, everyone started getting that bloody, remember that like puppy cake, that dog cake that's like where they like, it's literally the whole dog that's assuming it's like a Maltese or something, and that became like the new cake that everyone would get, and that was actually a really nice cake. Red Top do really nice cakes for birthdays.
I really like Red Top cakes for sure. So, to your point, Asian style sheet cakes where there's like multiple layers with like.
What did you say? Sheet
cake?
Oh,
If you have a
sheets.
sheet of
So you're
cake
trying to say
and then you
chiffon.
put cream. Yeah, chiffon.
Sheets.
Yeah, people call it sheets. I think that's a normal baker's term. Anyways, my point is like it's not I think the major difference between like an Asian cake, because they can look exactly the same, like a layered cake with cream around it. That's Western, like created by a Western baker versus baked by an Asian baker or bought from the specific store. They could look identical, but the major difference is because I've always noticed it was different as well when I tried it. Asian one is less sweet. Like I think there's always like less sugar. And the cream's different. And I read online, and I don't know if this is true because I'm not a baker, but Asian cakes tend to have like just straight whipped cream, sweet whipped cream on the outside.
Yeah.
Whereas Western cakes, they'll use other
Sometimes they just use
combination of whipped
sugar.
cream and something else.
Icing
Or
sugar.
just like straight cream and whatever, which is just different. But I think the Western cakes tend to, like, you can sit out longer normally, which I think is why it's part of the reason why they bake it the way they bake. Whereas with Asian cakes, like, if you leave that out too long, it just melts and gets a bit gross. But it tastes very good.
I reckon it tastes better. But maybe that's my preference because I just like a more whipped light cream. And then even with the cake base, I also like it being very airy and light. That's also very dangerous because then you just don't realize how much you're eating. That's also why I love, like, the Krispy Kreme original glazed donut. It's so light and fluffy. Kind of eat it within 2 seconds. And you're like, the hell's it gone? Just disappeared.
Yeah, I know. I like that vintage cake look is coming back around. So now you can actually readily find it again through different bakers. I had one recently that I really, really liked. The girl uses cream cheese, sweet cream cheese, 100% as the cream lays inside and also as the frosting on the outside. So again, similar to Asian cakes, it would melt faster, but it just tastes good. Because I hate cakes made with fondant and stuff. Great to look at, not so great to eat. Fondant tastes gross.
Fondant. I don't like the really icy, sugary, like, frosting. I just find that's like eating sand. Like sand that's been like been like held together by water. It's just very grainy and it looks good. And I get why people use it because it's easy to sculpt certain, I don't know, features or maybe like a figurine on top of the cake. And like you said, it holds its shape and probably stores better, but it's not pleasant to eat. Yeah.
Speaking of cake, let's get into our dessert. So our desserts are an intentional moment that we're taking to appreciate the sweet moments of our lives, whether it happened recently or just a general thought that we have. Basically practicing gratitude.
Oh, what am I grateful for? I am grateful for
I can go first.
Yes, you should go first because go back in my memory for the last few weeks. See what I can.
I'm thankful. I can cheat and just say I'm thankful for the fact that cakes are more accessible now based on our just recent topic. But I think a better one. Let me think what I thought about this morning. I am grateful for. Actually, I'm grateful for how far technology has come to be able to communicate with people efficiently, quickly. This is a really superficial reason, but I brought magnetic lashes that I'm not wearing at the moment. But what they are is people who want to make their lashes look longer or thicker. You can buy different mascara to achieve that, of course, with makeup, but you can also buy fake eyelashes that you stick on above your eyelashes or just under your eyelashes that gives you that look. And the most common way to put those on is via glue. And then that's normally temporary, or you can pay to get them done with a special glue where they don't really come off until your natural lashes kind of come out and push them out. And anyways, what's kind of like been popular in the last few years is magnetic lashes. So you just snap them on because they're magnetic. And it's been very mixed reviews online, depending on the brand, depending on the person. So it's not very trustworthy. And then within my close circle, no one really uses them. Everyone's heard of them, but no one's ever used them. So didn't know much about them. And I just bought them because I decided to like bite the bullet because there was an influencer I liked that like actually like without being sponsored actually just rated it highly because someone commented on her eyelashes. She said where it was from, so it felt authentic. So I took the risk and I bought it. I tried it, and then like my circle of friends were interested and they like asked me about it. And instead of me just like writing out the words and stuff like that, I could like send them a quick video message, and it just sent straight away. And then they got a full review, different angle. It's in HD, and it helped them make a more informed decision. So that's an example of how convenient it is to communicate information now so easily with different types of medium. And I think like that's a little bit underrated. Like another one is like when you do video calls and stuff, you can see people even though you haven't seen them for a very long time, but it's so nice to be able to visually see them as well. And you can do that without having to travel to see them, which I think is really nice.
Okay, that was a lot to be grateful for.
It was just it was followed up with an example.
Yeah. All right. Mine's simple. Mine's like you can't. I mean, saying technology, it's like a million things that fall under there. Are you grateful for the magnetic eyelashes?
I'm also grateful for magnetic eyelashes because I'm very bad at putting on false eyelashes on.
Okay. Because once you cover technological advances, everything in life really. Because it covers mine. Mine was going to be like the microwave. And how grateful I am for the existence of microwaves and how easy it is to now heat food and do a whole bunch of cooking without actually cooking. And I mean, probably the one invention that hasn't really changed much, like the concept of heating food. Like, yes, they've made them more multi-purpose where now it could be an oven as well as other stuff. In fact, the essence of what it is, which is to heat up food, is still the case from when it was made. You know, I don't know how long ago it was made ago, but anyway, grateful for the microwave. I need to grab a tissue back.
Okay.
Keep the next part going.
I'll keep the next part going while Debbie runs away to grab a tissue because we are at the end. The last thing we're going to end on is our meal prep. So meal preps are things we're either looking forward to or goals that we're setting that we want to acknowledge out loud to kind of try to help us keep more accountable. Something I'm looking forward to. Let me think. Forward. What is happening in the near future that I am excited about? I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people soon and hang out with them, which will be really nice. But it's nothing special. But I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be excited about mundane things. I think that's the point, to be able to reach a point in your life, to be able to look forward to mundane things. So I'll just say a specific one. In a few days, I'm going to catch up with a really close friend of mine to have brunch with her. And I'm pretty excited because we've both been really busy. So it's been really hard to find time to actually catch up properly. I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to go eat Korean food. Like I don't know what style it is, but it's kind of cool because the way they serve it, like you get a main dish and then you get all the side dishes as well and stuff like that. So it's going to be like a whole experience. It's going to be a lot of fun. How about you? Is there something that you're looking forward to, Devi, or goals you want to call out loud?
No, nothing.
Oh.
I'm just looking forward to some extra sleep because public holidays coming up.
That'd be nice. Sleep is good. Rest is good.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, let's wrap it up. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, listening, watching wherever you are in the world. We appreciate you and we thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.